guys have heard or ever visited the place to refer to as the happiest place on earth? Well, I'm sure I not have only heard of it, but I also visit it often during the year. When Disneyland first opened, it only costed $3.50 to get a ticket. And now it's only 30 times, wait, not only, 30 times more expensive, 30 times more expensive, and yet it's still visited by millions of people. According to Statistica, annual rate of people is 16.2 million people in 2013 only. And it is one of the amusement parks that's most visited by many of people, and leaves people with tons of happiness and also with the chance of wanting to visit for the second time. As you can see, this is how the Disneyland price has been increasing over the years and still been going up this past year, sadly. As a visitor, I have experienced the majority of adventures Disneyland has to offer and the beautiful memories it leaves us. By learning more about Disneyland, you will have a better understanding and have a better idea of what to expect when you visit Disneyland. First, I will talk about the history of Disneyland, then an overlook of California Adventures, before finally discussing the characters the theme park has involved with it. So first, what is the history behind Disneyland? In order to get a better knowledge of what Disneyland is, you must first explore the history, and second, how it has to do with Disneyland and how it was open to the public. One day, Walt Disney had a vision of having a place where both kids and with both children and adults can have a fun place to be around. And he then started having visions, so he started drawing, and he created visions of, he drew out his visions and he created Mickey Mouse and Snow White, which are two big characters in the Disney company now. And from there on, he began to create the Walt Disney Company, which is one of the most biggest companies worldwide. He insisted on having a place where tourists would be attracted, and there would be so many cartoons everywhere. As where you would walk to the restroom, there would be cartoons. And that was how he wanted to start Disneyland. According to Just Disney, in 1953, a search for 100 acres began so he can start his theme park. As you can see, he wanted it in Burbank for his first location, but it didn't happen. And his location was very important because it had to be a location where tourists would be attracted, because it had to be a good transportation in a rural area and a place where highways were nearby. So it wasn't until July 21st in 1954, when they found an accessible and affordable place in Anaheim, and construction began for Disneyland that year. As you can see, this is how it first looked. Now that we have discussed the history of how it first became open, let's discuss an overlook of the other theme park it has to offer, which is Disney California Adventures. In order to fully understand what Disneyland has to offer, we must explain what California is and how it's part of visiting Disneyland. What is Disneyland California Adventures? Well, according to Susan Casey, in a magazine published on November 1st, 2001, Concrete Construction stated that Disneyland will add an expansion of a park, and it would consist of $1.4 billion. As you can see, this is California Adventures, which many of you guys, if you visited Disneyland, you know it's right across from there. Disney California Adventures would consist of a park being set up all in California style from years ago to today, where you would walk by and you would see historic people, key events, and everything else around the park. You probably haven't noticed that yet, but when you walk around California Adventure, it's all about California style. And it was first opened to the public in 2001. Moving on to how it's part of Disneyland. It's only right across from it, so if you go to Disneyland, you're tempted to go to Disney California Adventure. So this is why I suggest you get an annual pass to go. And usually the experience comes in a package, and it's cheaper for visitors, because if you buy a one-day ticket, it's cheaper if you get the park hopper to visit both parks. So it's part of Disneyland because they're getting a profit out of it. And it has many different attractions as well as Disneyland. not only the same attractions, but it's pretty much both different attractions and totally different parks. And after visiting both parks, you have a better knowledge of what to tell people, so you get great memories and you get to inform others about the park. Um, After explaining what is Disneyland and discussing an overlook of California adventure, let us now explore how there are different characters involved in the theme park. Disneyland consists of many towns, and they all have different names, different attractions, different characters, and they all represent different themes. It's kind of unusual, but it's like you don't believe it, but it's actually true. According to Robert Vaux, a professional writer and editor since 1955, also completed a Master of Arts in English Literature from Syracuse University. In a newspaper article, he stated that in the newspaper article USA Today, he stated that Disney has eight themes around their park, and those 8 themes are Mickey's Toontown, Critter Country, Adventureland, Fantasyland, Frontierland, Thunder Ranch, and Main Street USA, I believe. And then this, I think it was, did I mention Main Street USA? And those eight themes are divided into different attractions. Now let's move on. Once you're walking into Toontown, you're gonna see Mickey. That's the character involved in Mickey's Toontown. You're gonna see Mickey, Donald Duck, and Goofy and Pluto. When you're walking toward Adventureland, you'll see Aladdin, Jasmine, and Jasmine. In Fantasyland, you'll see Peter Pan and Snow White, while in Critter Country, you'll see Pooh and Tigger. And in Thunder Ranch, you'll see like Woody, Jessie, and Toy Story. And in Main Street USA, you'll see Cinderella and Bella and Ariel, now the princess. Now that you've learned more about Disneyland, you have a better idea of what to expect when visiting Disneyland. So we talked about the history, then an overlook of Disney California Adventure, and finally discussed the characters that are part of it. So now when you're walking down Main Street USA, keep in mind that you're walking down the happiest place on earth, and after figuring out the background info, just know you have more information on it. And now you won't be lost when you want to take a selfie with one of the characters.